guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Alec Baldwin is actually going to trial, and he has been charged with involuntary manslaughter in the shooting that happened in 2021 on the set of his movie Rust. Now, a dozen people were inside the movie set. It was a church on the day that Alec Baldwin shot and killed cinematographer Halyna Hutchins, and as well as wounded the director Joel Souza during a rehearsal for the Western movie Rust. About 3 years later now, and after countless hearings and back and forths and what have you, Alec Baldwin is going to be standing trial starting on Tuesday, July 9th, again on a charge of involuntary manslaughter. There will be folks testifying, some of those that were inside the church that day, as well as numerous investigators, firearms experts, and the armorer, who was just charged with the murder as well. And she is currently going to be serving 18 months. That's Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, which of course right now she's appealing her guilty verdict. Alec Baldwin, if convicted, will also get a term in prison of 18 months. What happened according to Baldwin and what happened according to the experts, there's a little discrepancies there. Alec claimed that the gun fired accidentally after he was following instructions to point it toward Hutchins and the camera, and he was unaware that there was a live bullet in the gun, and he said he pulled back the hammer and not the trigger, and the gun fired. That is basically, in a nutshell, Alec Baldwin's side of the story. I know I am curious if he's going to take the stand. Now, this trial could be influential and do a lot of changes as far as the TV movie industry, just as the horrific deaths that occurred in 1983 on the set of The Twilight Zone, the movie, where 2 children, as well as actor Vic Morrow, were killed by a helicopter during production when the pyrotechnics struck the tail rotor of the helicopter, causing it to spin out of control and kill both Morrow and the children. The director, John Landis, he ended up on trial for involuntary manslaughter. He was acquitted, but this was one of the most prolonged lawsuits in film history and did cause some major changes in filming codes. So that makes me think that this trial could also be as influential in the business, although we already know that there are a lot of safety protocols and such in place on movie sets. After this happened in 2021, many actors and experts, professionals, spoke out about how a gun, loaded or not, with blanks, irregardless, should be carefully inspected by every single person. That gun should have gone from the armorer, Hannah, to Alec Baldwin, who should have been told it was a cold gun, and he should have also checked. So again, there's a lot of things that went wrong that day, and a lot of things were going wrong on that set for a while, according to many stories we heard coming out. So I'm sure that's going to also be talked about at trial, as it was during Hannah's trial. I did not watch that one in its entirety, but this one I'm definitely going to be following. And let me know, guys, if you want me to do updates on it. I think they're suspecting this one might take a couple weeks. It's not going to be a very long trial. Again, if he is found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, Alec Baldwin could face up to 18 months in jail. So I wanted to just go through a bit of Alec Baldwin's initial police interview that happened. Obviously, as you can see on the screen, this is like well over an hour. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, just so that we can get through some of what he initially told the detectives when this happened, when the shooting happened. And this was done a couple of years ago. Again, this is in New Mexico.
Long day?
Well, what's interesting, not to digress on some commentary here, is that we've done this for 2 weeks and we did it the right way every day. Every day. You're on a set, you rehearse, they bring you what's called a cold gun. The gun is either completely empty, the chambers, or there is a cosmetic piece. So, for example, if you're the camera, and this is going to sound silly and specific, but if I'm pointing a gun close to the camera, you want to see into the cylinder that there's material in there, cosmetic material. So those rounds are cosmetic rounds. They put them in, and you rehearse, or even in a shot when you don't fire. I pull the gun, and you see there's some material inside the cylinder. They'd hand me a cold gun, no charges. They always hand you a cold gun with nothing in it to rehearse. And then, when you shoot, and if you are shooting loads that are flash loads, and they're usually in 3 denominations, quarter, half, or full load rounds, so that the flash is bright, and the sound is loud, louder, loudest. Full load is loudest. So if you're outside, you want a full load bang, you want a loud sound. If you're inside, you can do a quarter load. Right before you shoot, everyone preps, crew puts the earplugs in, some put headphones on, the camera's there, very often there's a Lucite screen, but you're the camera operator, and there's the camera, so I should always shoot off camera. You never shoot into the lens. And you shoot, and there's a flash and a sound. Now, I went to lunch. She disarmed me. I sat down.
She being?
Hannah, the armaments person. She was always handling the guns, 99% of the time. So I would, if I had a cosmetic rifle with no rounds, I'd hand it to one of her assistants. I'm sitting there. She disarms me, we go to lunch, we come back to lunch, and they hand me the revolver, the Colt.
And I just like the name, it's Hannah again.
They arm me, and you're assuming, as we've done every time, that it's a cold gun for the rehearsal.
That's the problem right there. See how he's very, very knowledgeable. He's been acting for years. Alec Baldwin he's a very, very experienced actor. So he, as you can see him explaining to these detectives, he's very knowledgeable about the process and on set, and he said you hand him a cold gun, but when he said here, I assume it's a cold gun. You never want to assume. From what I understand, and like I said, many experts, and when this initially happened, I watched, you had John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard, many other actors and experts with weapons and being on movie sets, and they all stated when a weapon's handed to you and they say this is a cold gun, you are supposed to check that. You can't assume anything. You need to make sure for yourself, for your safety and those around you, that that's legitimately what you're being handed. And on this occasion, that was not done by Alec Baldwin.
And I put the gag in the shot, you're the camera, because I have a coat, and I have a holster, and I pull the coat over, and I kind of cup my hands like I folded my hands. And then I'm going to slowly sneak the revolver, the Colt out, and turn and shoot these other guys, or try to shoot them. I take the coat over the thing, the camera's there. I believe, my recollection is she was there, turned a bit, like talking to him. So I think she was hit in the right armpit. But this is all I know, and that is that I take the gun out in the rehearsal. Really, he wants it very dramatic and very sort of kind of sneak up on them. I take the gun out, and as I take, like as it clears, as the barrel clears the hole, turn and cock the gun over here. I turn and cock the gun goes off. It's supposed to be a cold gun. Nothing. No flash charges, nothing. Now, this is a puzzle to me, and this is making me very emotional now, you know. But in my time, and I'm older now, but when I was younger and I was shooting guns and films, I've never seen a theatrical flash round where the material went through someone's armpit, came out their body, and hit somebody else in the shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if your department is prepared to go find out what comes out of his shoulder surgically. Is that a live round?
That's what we are actually looking at.
Is that a lot? Because it doesn't make any sense otherwise.
So at this point, he was unaware, and obviously took his word that this was a live round. They were assuming it was some sort of faulty, I guess, blank or what have you, that went through the cinematographer and then the director, which is obviously not the case. She was killed with a real live bullet. But like he stated, he cocked back the gun. Obviously, that is what made the gun go off.
Hits her in the armpit, comes out her shoulder, goes into his shoulder, and he just told me on the phone, I talked to Joel. He said, they showed me the x-ray, and the shape of the thing in my shoulder is the shape of a bullet. Now, all the rounds, I was told, you need to verify, I think this is important, they take the gun, they empty it, and all the rounds that are in there were either dummy rounds, no flash, cold rounds, or rounds with a flash. In the rehearsal, there should have been nothing. It should have been a cold gun with no rounds inside or dummy rounds, cosmetic rounds, no flash. I take the gun out slowly, I turn, I cock the pistol, bang, it goes off, she hits the ground, she goes down. He goes down, screaming. He's like, Jesus Christ, and I'm going, and I thought that maybe sometimes the wadding can come out if you're closer to get a burn. Two actors who killed themselves with guns, with theatrical guns, John Eric Hexum and Brandon Lee, they put the live round in, and I'm told even with the flash powder, you can cause contusions and you can do a brain bleed and die, which both of them died.
Right.
I think with Brandon Lee, there was a piece of material lodged in the thing that shot from the, or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember vividly, but my point is, I've been doing this, I shot enough guns in my day in movies, I've never seen this before, where a flash round, but from my understanding is, may I borrow your pen for a minute?
You could even borrow it.
My understanding is that in a bullet, here's the thing with the pin, and here's the bullet itself. And now here, when you have a cosmetic round, no flash, no nothing, they drill a hole in the side of the brass to signify that it's a cosmetic round. There's nothing in there. There's no powder. But when you have a flash round, and there's stuff in there, wadding and powder to make the charge. This material here, that is the bullet, is made of a clay or some material that just disintegrates. So what you have is bang, and you see the flash go bang, and you get a sound, but nothing, there's no projectile.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm curious about is what came out of that bullet that went through her body and into his shoulder.
That's pretty powerful.
I've never heard of it. Now, some people say you can lodge material in the barrel accidentally, a rock, something, that happens. Which is why every time we've done this, I'm here to tell you, to testify that every time we've done this, she's done it right. She cleaned the barrel, made sure nothing was lodged in there. We went hot when they were ready. You always announce, going hot. Crew gets ready. And then all of a sudden, you're the camera, and I shoot away from you. I sit there and like, bang, 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 and flashes are coming out. We shoot the rounds. She cleans the barrel every time, and she checks that the rounds are all cosmetic rounds, or nothing in the chamber for the rehearsal. She hands me the gun. I'm assuming she's done it the right way. She's done it the last 2 weeks. I put it in the holster. I pull it out slow. We're rehearsing. We're not filming anything. I pull it out slow, turn, cock the pistol, bang, it goes off, and she hits the ground. And then he starts screaming. And I'm thinking, in a flash round, I could see maybe if there was wadding or there's some stuff that's hot, and maybe it hits you and burns you. And then, as they say, sometimes that happens. But remember, we're rehearsing, so no one's protected.
So it's all supposed to be this one, cosmetic one.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
For the rehearsal, the gun is normally empty.
Mm.
But my point is that they were standing in positions they wouldn't ordinarily be in because they assumed it was an empty, cold gun. We weren't shooting, we were rehearsing. That's a vital difference. So if she's here, if the camera's here, and she's standing here talking to the guy, and I'm on a bench here, and Joel's behind her, and this is not proportionate because obviously the camera's not as big as her body, but I draw the gun slowly and aim off camera, and there's supposed to be nothing in there. So she's not protecting herself and standing off. I'm shooting in a direction, and everybody is supposed to be to that side of the camera. There's nobody in my line. Nobody. And so when I shoot the gun, so in the rehearsal, I'm assuming I have an empty gun, and the gun goes off, she's right in front of me. Mm-hmm. She's as far from me as I am from, difference between maybe you and the door.
Okay, so pretty close proximity.
It was a very tight shot.
Okay.
The shot was here, of me, not of me, it's of me pulling the gun slowly, turn cock.
Okay.
And she's right there, vulnerable, in a position she wouldn't ordinarily be if we were shooting, and this thing, boom, she hits the ground.
All right.
It's the assumption it's a cold gun. To me, that and all the multiple safety issues that have been found on this set from 2021, that's the problem. This caused the loss of a beautiful wife and mother. And no, I don't believe Alec Baldwin intentionally would have done anything to harm anyone. This is not about him being a famous actor or, any of that. This is about the fact that somehow that gun went off and it had a live round in it, and it caused the loss of a young life, and of course the injury of the director. But that all could have been prevented if they would have used their safety protocols, if he would have checked the gun. And we've heard that Hannah did not hand him the gun. It is assuming is what's getting him in trouble here. The assumption that this was a cold gun without verifying that for his own self, for his own sanity, whatever you want to call it. He should have looked at that gun before he put it in his holster underneath his jacket and said, okay, there is a dummy round in here, or cosmetic round, or whatever. That should have been verified before they did this rehearsal shot they were doing to set up. And it caused this horrific accident on this movie set. So that's just kind of, I wanted to go into the basics here. There's obviously so much that we can go into. Let me know if you guys want to, discuss some more. But I think what we're going to do is just cover a bit of the trial. But let me know what your thoughts are on the shooting on the set of Rust. This is just something that I've followed again since the beginning. And as much as I know none of these people wanted this to happen, none of these people would have caused the death of someone on that set. It happened. It was neglect, lack of safety protocols, and this is why he is being charged with involuntary manslaughter. That means someone lost their life because of his neglect or failure to ensure the safety. And in this case, the safety of this gun. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.